This is only your mind that says no. There's no way, absolutely not any other alternative, apart from constant prayer. However, it can either be unconscious or conscious. This is truly a wonderful world to live in, despite the hardships, for everything comes from prayer, and through prayer it gets back to its primary source of creation. Remembrance of the Great Spirit is your nature. Denial is just your mind speaking. Let us tune with this. I wake up in the morning. I pray to Spirit, the primary source of creation, and ask to be given back a louder voice of the self, the soul. Divine Creator, Creatrix of all that is, please give me a louder sensation of your breath that enfolds my physical vessel. Unfold my praying voice clearly, and the reception of your actions on my triadic being clearly, so that I can move from unconscious to conscious prayer, so that the human self and the eternal I Am can be finally speaking with each other out of mental constructs and without interferences. I am consciously asking for this gift of demystifying my subtle conversation with you. Midday comes. I'm going to practice awareness in the here and now and conscious listening to my inner prayer. The first movement I notice is outward. I breathe in and out. Notice the exterior world, the physical. Maybe I'm hungry, maybe agitated, hyperactive or nervous. I turn to the physical world to grasp it, to hold it, to keep it. I touch, I sense, touch the place where I'm seated, feel my sitting bones, notice the room, the outward, pure form, compact physical form, dense vibrations that are formed in visible, tangible constructs. Everything on the visible is compact spirit, dense expression of spirit, vibrating at a certain frequency. My physical body and the physical world vibrating within the one creation, vibrating for the one creation, cannot vibrate, cannot exist outside the one creation. Praying within the one creation is my nature, my physical nature. The second movement is the return to the inner self. There I notice and distinguish two movements. The first is the movement of invisible forms, flying invisible forms, not so compact forms, that are called thoughts. Flying thoughts, thoughts as vibrations circulating all around me, that my mind can capture, and bit by bit, these invisible forms called thoughts stick on my physical body. They stay so close, so obsessively close to my body, that they can trick me, so miraculously close, penetrating my physical body, seeming to be one with it. But then, when they are not allowed the entrance, at that moment I notice the other movement, which is the non-movement, stillness. a flat, observing noticer, watching at the movement of thoughts, watching entrance denied. The observer is in the state of prayer, unceasing prayer, into oneness, into constant, inexplicable, undeniable following of the one way, the one will, the non-separated whole. The praying observer, in direct being with the prayer, in eternal flow with the one, in no denial of the one. And then there also might be a movement of the one, of the great spirit of form, of non-form, and of the in-between, towards the triadic being, towards the wholeness that you might have reached. No further explanations. In the afternoon, I see the myth. I come back to my mental space. I couldn't avoid building etymological arguments. What is praying? Why should I be considered a praying being? Why do prayers go unanswered? I don't belong to a discipline or a religion. I despise with the mere word prayer millions of crimes committed by praying beings, destruction of the praying ways of the other, and the great mystery does not speak back, does not prevent violence of praying beings. Can I see the Creator-Creatrix? How can I achieve that through prayer? Can I manifest some money through prayer, please, because I'm having a hard time paying my bills? Why shall I pray? I deny it. I'm not constantly praying, I'm constantly thinking. That's another problem. And if I pray unconsciously, I want to cease praying. I want to stop it. Breathe in and out. This is just your mind speaking. Come back to your physical world. Breathe deeply, slowly. Keep your eyes open. Let the soul show to your mind how she's praying. Let the soul, the real you, show to the false identity, the fake you, how she's constantly praying by existing in the here and now, by gracefully destroying your egoic human will every day, at each moment, bringing the triadic being back to its wholeness. At first, she might use some therapeutic imagery for your aggressive mental agitation. She might use loving, compassionate, and cathartic imagination. She will guide you through familiar images of destruction of your ego, always leaving you in an inner sensation of righteousness. This is her criteria. She's praying to your triadic wholeness through images. Then she might also use the intellect, sending you smoothing ways of the mind, sudden ideas, illuminations, abrupt inner words of unification, the pure sense of peace through intellectual ways that will support your sacred inner dance. She's praying with your intellect as well, always living it in peace and serenity, no agitation. This is her criteria. And you, as a human, naturally respond with a slight remembrance of oneness. That is how you cannot stop praying because you, as a triadic whole, you are included in the praying state of the One and only consciousness. You are eternally praising the gift of creation and eternally following its undeniable flow. Now, a nice practice would be, while on earth, to stop denying it. Even if imagery is a useful way of praying, even if the intellect can, from time to time, give glimpses of being in oneness, as through readings or scripts, something comes down to move the heart space as well. The perfect way that the soul is constantly feeding your human experience with is her voice in stillness, inside the physical body, at the space between the area of the chest till 3 horizontal fingers under your navel. The soul is praying there all the time. Join her consciously, and you will not regret it. When praying and conscious connection with all that is become a permanent spiritual practice, often the tears of ego death and the dismantling of mental activity bring about an unforced flood of your physical eyes, an indication that the mind is united with the heart and that the prayer found its place in the triadic being consciously. Practice conscious prayer as you wish. Improvise. The only criteria is inner stillness, calmness, and heart address. At your daily life, during the long time of ridiculousness, waiting time, meaningless daydreaming, obsessive nonsense, when persistence of praying as a natural rise of remembrance of oneness, as a voice of gratitude in the heart and worship for the gift of life, as emptiness of thoughts comes up, then your mind will of course be extremely agitated by its sending away, giving you reasons of your acting stupid. Don't you worry. This is just your mind speaking. At this point, I stop writing to my diary. I have to mention the Great Spirit might, if necessary, grasp your triadic being without prior notice. Can't say anything more about this. Vision of the Great Spirit can't be explained, nor expected, nor mistaken for samadhi and unity consciousness. Vision of the great mystery shall never, ever be mistaken as achieved by, with the effort or the power of the human triad. Never. This is a gift of the Great Spirit. Fools, stop. The evening embraces me. I'll give myself an example. You once saw an image of my great-great-grandfather when you came to visit me. You saw him feeding a bear with his own hands, and I told you his story. 2 men once went to see him in the forest, and when suddenly the bear came out of the woods and frightened them, he ordered, "Misha, go get us a treat, otherwise I have nothing to offer to my guests." 2 hours later, the bear returned and brought him a fresh honeycomb of purest honey and left immediately. And you believed this story. It was not a mental belief. You just knew that through zero-ness of prayer, The One is the One. At night, I receive the formula of zero-ness, the formula of inner listening to the One through the subtle voice of the soul in a state of attentive listening in the space of the heart, chest area movement, beyond imagination, observing reason that is approaching from the outside, the mind not allowing thoughts to enter it, not allowing reactive emotions of engagement with the newborn inner sensation, sensation of unity, inner floating and silent awaiting of what is not known to come. The formula is: something is born at this prayer state, leaving you in peacefulness and relief, never in doubt or agitation. Plus, finally, you perform with an inexplicable inner urge without attachment. Heart prayer to the One, for all humans to consciously remember the only common language that we have, prayer. Dear Diary, good night.